Good morning. Bonjour. I'm joining you from the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Haudenosaunee, along with my colleagues, Minister Garneau and Minister Gould. I want to begin by expressing our deepest sympathies to the families of the Afghan civilians and American service women and men whose lives were tragically taken in the explosions in Kabul yesterday. Make no mistake about it. This was a cold-hearted and calculated terrorist attack. It serves as the harshest of reminders that the situation on the ground is volatile in the extreme and could turn deadly at any moment. The members of our Canadian Armed Forces knew this full well when they were given orders to go back into Afghanistan to carry out a highly complicated and dangerous military evacuation. They're trained to remain focused and in control of their emotions on the battlefield because they know that clarity and purpose is the only way to complete their mission, one that is based on compassion, humanitarianism, and the moral obligation to do the right thing. Thanks to the bravery and outstanding performance of our armed forces, Canada was able to safely evacuate roughly 3,700 people and contribute to a coalition effort that has seen over 100,000 evacuated. It is the largest airlift in history. We owe them a debt of gratitude that we can never repay. First and foremost, our thoughts are with the people of Afghanistan, who only want the same opportunities that we enjoy as Canadians, to live in peace and security, to be able to raise their families, to watch them grow up, and share with them the prospect of a brighter and better future. It's also been a difficult time for our veterans, who sacrificed so much in the hopes that those opportunities would become realized. In my conversations with those that have served, I can tell how intensely engaged they've been in supporting our evacuation efforts. To our veterans, thank you for coming back into service. We will continue to work with you. And we will continue to work with the Afghan diaspora here in Canada. I know you are hurting. And my direct message to you is that we are going to continue to exhaust every effort to reunite you with your loved ones. Because even though the military evacuation may have ended, there is no end to our commitment to you, to your families, and to the people of Afghanistan. Let me tell you what we are doing right now. First, as I mentioned, our military evacuation operation successfully brought roughly 3,700 people to safety, the majority of whom are Afghan refugees and who are being resettled under our government-assisted refugee program. Many refugees have already arrived, and they are beginning to take root in their communities. More are currently in third country transit points, completing processing, and we look forward to welcoming them in the days to come. Second, even though our military have now concluded the evacuation, we are continuing to work tirelessly with our allies and our partners in the region to pursue every option to get the people that we need to get out of Afghanistan. And those efforts are yielding results. Yesterday, we secured approximately 500 seats on an American airlift, and they are now safely out of Kabul. We will continue to work with the United States and others to establish air bridges wherever we can, even beyond the anticipated withdrawal of the coalition on August 31st. Third, we are leading the world with a commitment to welcome thousands of Afghans who've been forced to flee their country. Canada was the first country in the world to launch this program, which will see us welcome a total of 20,000 Afghan refugees. And just today, the United Nations warned that 500,000 more Afghans could flee by the end of this year. Canada is ready to respond. We are in constant contact with our international partners, including the UNHCR and IOM, as we rapidly implement this humanitarian resettlement program, focusing on those who've had to flee Afghanistan and who are most at risk. Fourth, our special immigration measures remain in place to provide a pathway to protection for those Afghans who did so much for Canada. I want to be clear that their visas remain valid, even if they have not yet been able to leave the country. We've continued to process applications around the clock faster than ever. We've also set up a hotline for support. Yesterday, our output was increased over 250%, with average wait times being only 2.5 minutes, and there were no dropped calls. Services are being offered in English and French and Dari and other languages as required. I'm also pleased to announce a temporary public policy to waive fees for immigration documents issued to Afghans or for extension of status, including those who wish to remain in Canada. As part of these three special measures, we will waive fees for Afghans with a valid confirmation of permanent residence who are outside of Canada but who can't get a passport or travel document, Afghans already in Canada who are seeking an extension or restoration of their temporary resident status, and Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and families in Afghanistan or in a third country en route to Canada. We've learned as we've come along, and we will continue to make the changes where we need to. We've mobilized our entire global network and operations center, and I want to thank sincerely the countless public servants who have been working tirelessly and around the clock to get the job done, especially those in my department. And fifth, we are mobilizing our settlement service providers, advocacy groups, and all of civil society to welcome the Afghan refugees who desperately need our help. I'm calling on business leaders, community leaders, faith leaders, and all Canadians to take up this cause. Call us. Call me. I need you. We need you. The people of Afghanistan need you. Open up your homes, your communities, and your hearts, and I promise these Afghan refugees will give back. We've seen that time and time again throughout our history, and even during the pandemic, and we will see it again now. Even though the coalition is withdrawing, Canada's commitment to the people of Afghanistan will endure. I want to conclude my remarks where I began, with just how hard and difficult this past period has been. They've been hard for Afghan Canadians, like my friend Minister Monsef, who are watching the events in their homeland with horror. Few nations have known the turmoil of Afghanistan, and few nations have such a big presence in the hearts of Canadians. Our solidarity with the Afghan people will never waver. These past days have been hard for veterans, all of them, who went and fought and bled for this cause. 40,000 Canadians went over. 158 did not come back. We owe it to them, to their families, to all veterans, and everyone who has contributed to a brighter future for the people of Afghanistan, to continue to fight for a better future for Afghanistan. Canadians are already stepping up. Across the country, settlement organizations are ramping up their efforts. We're anticipating there could be some arrivals in the coming weeks, said David Yeo of the Catholic Social Services in Edmonton. And without even being asked, the United Church of Canada recently reported that more than 60 congregations want to sponsor Afghan refugees. Individual Canadians are rolling up their sleeves too. People like Sol Orwell, an entrepreneur in Toronto, who in just 5 days raised $350,000 in support of Afghan refugees. I'm an immigrant. I'm living the immigrant dream, said Sol. I know how much this opportunity matters. But it's not just about raising funds. We've set up a dedicated inbox that continues to hear from Canadians and all comers of our country. And for anyone wanting to reach out, it's afghaniresettlement@ccislive.ca. The messages are different, but the theme is always the same. How can we help? How can we create a brighter future? Having welcomed Syrian refugees 5 ago, Linda from Sarnia wrote this week to ask about hosting an Afghan family. I am 82 years old, widowed, and have a lovely home that I am willing to share, she said. Yannick from Burlington offered his furnished basement, complete with a full kitchen and an ensuite bathroom. Michael and Adrian, a couple from Shearwater, Nova Scotia, said that they have several rooms available for any Afghan refugee that needs it. And finally, Christina from Muskoka wrote to simply say, we offer our home to help with the refugee crisis. Our country is woven together with stories like these. We are on the cusp of a national moment. Canadians are opening their hearts and, as you can see, their homes as well. This is our country at its best. Compassion is the heart of who we are, and I know that it will continue to shine brightly as we welcome the newest members of our Canadian family. Thank you. Merci.